Hello, tonight we journey back to a time before the world wore the heavy crowns of kings or borders carved the land. The ancient soil of Europe rests beneath a silent sky, waiting for the very first footsteps of human history to echo across its vast, untouched plains. The colossal glaciers that once held the entire continent in a frozen embrace are now slowly and silently retreating toward the northernmost edges of the world. Great sheets of ice melt into wandering rivers, carving deep valleys and filling massive basins with crystal clear water that flows endlessly toward a nameless sea. Perhaps the local wildlife welcomed this dramatic transformation, happily exchanging endless frozen landscapes for far more hospitable surroundings together. Massive forests of ancient birch and resilient pine trees silently arise to claim the newly uncovered earth, painting the rolling hills in deep shades of green. This vast wilderness stretches from the Atlantic coast to the distant eastern plains, creating a quiet sanctuary that completely ignores the concept of modern real estate markets. The air is remarkably pure, carrying only the gentle scent of damp earth, fresh pine needles, and the faint promise of a much warmer tomorrow. So, before you get completely comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly enjoy what we're creating here. We warmly invite you to share your current location and your local time in the comments section down below, connecting our global community of midnight travelers. Now slowly dim the lights. Perhaps turn on a fan, letting the steady hum of the air fill the room. And in that gentle rhythm, we quietly step into tonight's journey together. Geological records and modern climate studies reveal a dynamic planet that moves to a slow, majestic rhythm entirely its own. The powerful winds sweep across open plains, carrying seeds to distant valleys and whispering secrets to the ancient mountains that watch over the changing landscape. Early humans probably spent a significant amount of time wondering if the weather would ever settle down. Enough for a proper outdoor picnic. Small bands of hunter-gatherers ventured across these freshly revealed landscapes, tracking seasonal migrations of majestic deer and mighty woolly mammoths. They moved quietly through dense forests, leaving almost no lasting traces behind. Their deep understanding of nature sustained every journey. Despite never consulting a daily weather forecast on any smartphone before traveling, the Younger Dryas ended around 11,700 years ago, bringing an abrupt warming that transformed Earth's climate forever. This remarkable shift closed a prolonged age of icy hardship and ushered in the stable Holocene epoch. It felt like the entire planet finally exhaled after enduring countless centuries beneath frozen silence together. With climate conditions finally stabilizing, Europe's landscapes blossomed with flourishing forests, thriving wildlife, and fertile valleys. Great rivers, including the Danube and the Rhine, settled into enduring courses that would later nurture remarkable civilizations. Nature patiently prepared the continent's future, working steadily without the pressure of deadlines or hurried ambitions ever existing. Early human communities established temporary camps beside sparkling rivers, where fresh water and plentiful game supported everyday survival. Skilled hands crafted tools from flint and wood before evenings gathered everyone around glowing fires to exchange treasured stories. One humorous elder probably insisted younger people wasted excessive time decorating cave walls. Instead of listening, the gentle rhythm of the changing seasons completely dictates the daily movements and survival strategies of these highly adaptive nomadic clans. Spring brings an abundance of sweet berries and fresh green shoots, while autumn provides rich nuts and fat fish from the clear rushing streams. Life moves at a beautifully predictable pace, entirely free from the exhausting rush of modern calendars and endless corporate meetings. The vast coastlines of the continent are also changing as the rising sea levels slowly shape the familiar geography we recognize today. A massive land bridge once connected the British Isles to mainland Europe, creating a fertile territory that archaeologists now fondly refer to as Doggerland. This ancient country now rests peacefully beneath the North Sea, providing an excellent, though slightly damp, home for generations of confused modern codfish. As the centuries quietly pass, these human groups begin to develop unique cultural traditions and deeply spiritual connections to the natural world. They observe the precise movements of the stars, the changing phases of the moon, and the grand annual journey of the golden sun. They hold a profound respect for the earth, never taking more than they absolutely need to sustain their small, tightly knit communities. Dense forests offer both shelter and mystery, inspiring early communities to honor unseen spirits through quiet daily rituals. Every rustling leaf and babbling stream carries meaning these skilled wanderers understand instinctively. Surrounded by thriving wilderness, they rarely experience true loneliness because the living landscape provides companionship, guidance, comfort, and enduring spiritual confidence every day. The shift from wandering to settled life unfolds so gradually that no generation fully recognizes its importance. Families discover remaining beside fertile land proves easier than carrying heavy shelters across distant landscapes. This quiet transformation begins humanity's enduring experiment with permanent communities, strengthened by shared meals, cooperation, stability, and lasting traditions together. The quiet nights are filled with the gentle sounds of the wilderness. From the soft hoot of an owl to the rustle of wind, stars blink down from a perfectly clear sky, unaffected by the artificial lights that will one day obscure their brilliant ancient glory. It is a time of absolute peace, a vast canvas of time where history is being written in the quietest way. The early morning mist hangs low over the fertile river valleys, blanketing the sleeping earth in a soft, protective layer of white. The entire continent seems to hold its collective breath, suspended in a beautiful moment of transition between the old world and the new. The ancient glaciers are gone, leaving behind a rich and vibrant land that is fully ready to nurture the coming generations. The golden sun quietly rises over these mist-covered fields, casting a warm and gentle light across a world that knows no kings. The bright rays illuminate the tiny paths worn into the grass by deer, signaling the start of another peaceful, unhurried day. The journey of humanity has truly begun, moving forward with the steady, unstoppable grace of a river flowing home. The dawn of this new age brings an enduring promise of stability, growth, and a deep connection to the sacred soil. As the light grows stronger, the early settlers awaken to tend their small fires and look out over the beautiful land. The stage is set, the earth is warm, and the very first chapters of European history are silently beginning to unfold. The great river valleys of Europe provide a natural sanctuary where the very first permanent agricultural communities begin to take root. Along the fertile floodplains of the Danube and the Rhine, the wild landscape gently softens as human hands guide the earth toward a new purpose. The rhythmic flow of the water dictates the pace of daily life, offering a reliable sense of predictability that modern commuters can only dream of achieving. These expansive river basins serve as the perfect cradle for early humanity, providing exceptionally rich soil that is incredibly easy to cultivate. The changing seasons bring a comforting regularity, where the spring floods reliably deposit nutrient-dense mud across the flat, welcoming fields. It is a harmonious partnership between humans and nature, though the local mosquitoes undoubtedly appreciate the sudden concentration of stable, slow-moving targets. As the morning sun warms the valleys, the steady sound of stone axes clearing small plots of land echoes softly through the ancient trees. People carefully plant their very first crops of emmer wheat and barley, watching the green shoots rise from the dark, damp earth. The concept of waiting for a harvest teaches these early communities the true value of patience, a virtue that has largely been replaced by high-speed internet. The architecture of these early settlements is characterized by magnificent timber longhouses that stand as proud symbols of communal cooperation. These impressive structures, often stretching over 100 feet in length, are crafted from massive oak posts and covered with sturdy thatched roofs. They serve as multi-generational homes where families live alongside their precious livestock, creating a cozy atmosphere that surely tested everyone's tolerance for snoring. Archaeologists studying this fascinating era refer to these pioneering farmers as the linear band ceramic culture, or simply the LBK, due to their distinctive pottery. They ornament their handmade clay vessels with beautiful, delicate linear patterns that spiral gracefully around the curved surfaces of the bowls. These decorative lines represent the very dawn of human artistic expression, proving that even prehistoric households appreciated a nice matching dinnerware set. Excavations have uncovered countless beautifully crafted stone, adzes and flint tools that were once used for daily woodworking and agriculture. Each artifact, preserved for thousands of years beneath the protective layers of soil, tells a silent story of meticulous craftsmanship and utility. Holding one of these ancient tools reveals a surprising ergonomic perfection, showing that prehistoric designers understood comfort long before office chairs were invented. The remarkable survival of these delicate clay pots and stone implements beneath the earth is a testament to the enduring nature of simple things. While grand monuments of later empires often crumble into unrecognizable dust, these humble household items remain perfectly intact to share their secrets. They remind us that the true essence of human history is found not in golden crowns, but in the ordinary tools of daily survival. Archaeological evidence conclusively demonstrates that these early agricultural communities maintained a remarkably stable way of life for many centuries. Their villages thrive in the same locations for generations, experiencing a peaceful continuity that stands in stark contrast to the turbulent centuries ahead. This enduring stability suggests that these ancient people possessed a profound understanding of how to live within the natural limits of their environment. Furthermore, the structural design of these villages indicates a highly egalitarian social system where resources and labor were shared quite equally. Excavated graves and house sizes show very few signs of extreme wealth disparity or rigid, oppressive political hierarchies among the inhabitants. It seems these early Europeans managed to run highly successful communities without ever needing a complex labyrinth of tax laws or human resource departments. The daily routine in an LBK village is a gentle symphony of domestic sounds, from grinding grain to the soft lowing of cattle. Women gather around communal fires to prepare nourishing stews, while children play among the stacked logs and chase domesticated dogs through the grass. It is a picture of serene domesticity, assuming one can look past the distinct lack of modern indoor plumbing and running water. The surrounding forests continue to provide a rich bounty of wild foods, ensuring that these early farmers never fully abandon their ancestral traditions. They supplement their agricultural yields with sweet, wild apples, hazelnuts, and the meat of wild boars that roam the dense woodland. This diversified diet keeps the community healthy and strong, preventing the total reliance on a single crop that would plague later civilizations. As afternoon fades into evening, the longhouses cast long shadows across the neatly arranged garden plots and small animal pens. The community gathers in the open spaces between the buildings, sharing news of the day and planning the work for the coming morning. There is an unspoken understanding that everyone must contribute to the common good, a social contract written in shared sweat and daily bread. The nearby rivers remain the vital arteries of this expanding world, allowing quiet communication and trade between distant, scattered settlements. Small dugout canoes glide smoothly along the water, carrying precious flints, decorative shells, and exotic ideas from one village to another. These watery highways connect the continent long before roads are cleared, showing that humanity has always sought out a good neighborly chat. Peaceful cooperation among early farming communities encouraged regional cultures to flourish, while useful innovations spread steadily between neighboring settlements. Pottery making, animal husbandry, and seed preservation gradually traveled along winding rivers. Human progress advanced quietly, guided by patience, shared knowledge, and everyday cooperation across fertile landscapes together. Night settled across peaceful river valleys, covering timber homes and cultivated fields with comforting silence. Fires were carefully hidden beneath ash to preserve warmth until dawn, while thin smoke drifted toward brilliant stars. Everyone slept peacefully, confident the faithful river would continue flowing when another morning finally arrived again. Children inherited fertile fields from their parents, learned respected farming traditions, then passed those customs to future generations. Each passing season enriched the soil with memories of laughter, determined work, joyful celebrations, and quiet farewells. The earth preserved every touch, protecting countless stories beneath green fields forever together. The mighty Danube continued its endless journey eastward, flowing through a continent changing slowly across countless generations. Its steady waters carried memories of the earliest settlers beyond quiet riverbanks destined for magnificent cities. The river remained a silent witness, carrying memories through changing generations as its steady waters flowed endlessly beneath. The quiet darkness of every peaceful night, the gentle rhythm of flowing water comforted. A world content with simple traditions and peaceful existence. Beneath turning stars, memories of the first farmers remained preserved within fertile soil and timeless currents. The journey continued quietly, carrying forgotten stories toward distant chapters, waiting patiently beyond tomorrow's gentle sunrise. The steady turning of the wheel of time brings the gentle dawn of the Bronze and early Iron Ages across Europe. In these quiet centuries, the daily existence of the common folk revolves entirely around the predictable cycles of planting, harvesting, and community gathering. Generations come and go like the autumn leaves, fully content to live within the peaceful rhythm that their ancestors established along the riverbanks. The seasonal rhythm remains completely unbroken, providing a deeply comforting structure to a world that feels no need for rapid historical change. Springtime calls the villagers out into the open fields, where they guide heavy wooden plows through the rich, dark soil with practiced ease. One can easily imagine that the local crows viewed this annual turning of the earth as an exceptionally generous, all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet. When the warm summer sun ripens the grain, the entire village unifies to gather the precious harvest before the autumn rains arrive. Men, women, and children work side by side in the sun-drenched fields, their soft laughter mingling with the rustle of dry stalks. This collective effort ensures that the community granaries are filled to the brim, securing survival through the cold months ahead. Archaeologists excavating these ancient settlements frequently discover beautiful bronze rings, delicate spiral bracelets, and beautifully ornamented pottery buried deep within the earth. These decorative items reveal a highly sophisticated appreciation for personal adornment and artistic expression among people who lived thousands of years ago. It seems that looking fashionable at the local village gathering was just as important then as it is in modern times. The sturdy stone querns used for grinding grain into fresh flour are found in nearly every single household across the continent. These heavy, well-worn tools represent the literal heartbeat of domestic life, requiring hours of patient, rhythmic labor from the village bakers. The simple act of preparing daily bread connects these ancient families to a universal human experience that transcends the passage of centuries. Spacious granaries raised on stout wooden stilts stand proudly at the center of each village, protecting the community's wealth from dampness. Narrow, winding dirt paths snake gracefully through the tall grass, connecting neighboring hamlets and allowing relatives to maintain close, affectionate contact. These humble trails are the very first highways of Europe, designed entirely for friendly visits rather than marching conquest. The atmosphere within these settlements is one of profound peace, where the passage of time is measured by shadows rather than ticking clocks. The air smells wonderfully of burning oak logs, roasting barley, and the sweet, clean scent of the surrounding pine forests. It is a world fully insulated from the stresses of modern life, where a major crisis was merely dropping a favorite clay pot. Remarkable archaeological evidence reveals that an extensive, highly organized trade network spanned the entire European continent long before the first empires arose. Beautiful amber beads from the distant Baltic coast find their way into the wealthy households of the sunny Mediterranean region. This prehistoric commerce proves that ancient people were incredibly adept at maintaining long-distance relationships without the benefit of international postal services. This famous amber road consists of a complex network of river routes and forest trails that daring traders navigate with great care. They exchange the precious golden northern resin for fine southern wines, bronze daggers, and exotic glass beads that dazzle the eyes. It is a quiet, peaceful exchange of culture and technology that enriches both ends of the continent simultaneously. The existence of such widespread trade demonstrates that ancient Europe was deeply interconnected through mutual trust and shared economic interests. These early merchants travel without the protection of grand armies, relying instead on local hospitality and the universal language of fair commerce. They bring news of distant lands to eager listeners gathered around the evening fires, expanding horizons without firing a single arrow. In the village marketplace, small-scale bartering is conducted with a pleasant, unhurried dignity that makes modern grocery shopping look utterly chaotic. A beautifully woven wool blanket might be exchanged for a sturdy iron sickle or a couple of finely crafted pottery jugs. These daily transactions are infused with social connection, turning every simple trade into an opportunity for a good, old-fashioned gossip session. As the late afternoon sun casts long, amber reflections across the village square, the livestock are gently guided back into their pens. The heavy lowing of cattle and the gentle bleating of sheep create a soothing evening chorus that signals the day's end. There is a deep, instinctual comfort in knowing that the animals are safe and the larders are full. The changing of the seasons is celebrated with simple, heartfelt festivals that honor the earth's endless generosity and the cycle of life. Villagers gather to dance, feast on roasted meats, and drink sweet mead from large communal ceramic vessels under the moonlight. These joyful gatherings reinforce the tight social bonds that keep the small communities strong and resilient against external hardships. As winter approaches, the pace of life slows down even further, drawing families close to the warmth of their central hearths. Women spend the long, dark evenings spinning fine wool and weaving intricate textiles, while elders pass down sacred legends to wide-eyed children. The stories speak of brave ancestors, clever animals, and the gentle spirits that guard the mountains and streams. The ancient world rests deeply during these cold months, fully trusting that the sleeping earth will awaken once again in the spring. There is no anxiety about the future, only a calm acceptance of the present moment and the natural order of things. The village endures, a small island of human warmth nestled within a vast, silent sea of ancient forest. As the generations pass silently into history, the paths connecting the villages become deeply etched into the very landscape of Europe. These enduring tracks guide the footsteps of countless travelers, carrying the quiet momentum of human progress forward through the long centuries. Every single stone along the way has been smoothed by the souls of people who walk this earth with purpose. A small caravan of traders moves quietly through the dense forest, their pack animals laden with amber, bronze, and fine textiles. They walk with a steady, unhurried stride, fully attuned to the subtle whispers of the wind through the high canopy above. They are the quiet threads weaving the fabric of a continent together, moving silently through a world that is growing up. Travelers leave faint footprints as autumn quietly transforms the landscape again. The falling leaves gently cover their tracks, preserving the absolute serenity of the forest for the next group of weary wanderers. The quiet villages endure, and the peaceful journey continues onward through the endless, comforting shadows of the prehistoric night. Across the misty hills and open plains of ancient Europe, massive megalithic monuments rise silently toward the ever-changing sky. These colossal stone circles, solitary menhirs, and communal dolmens stand as quiet sentinels, marking sacred spaces in a landscape untouched by modern cities. They represent the collective spiritual anchor of early communities, serving as gathering places rather than aggressive monuments to any singular, boastful ruler. These ancient structures are built with incredible effort, requiring entire villages to cooperate in moving stones weighing many tons over long distances. People work in perfect harmony, using simple wooden rollers, thick leather ropes, and raw human determination to erect these timeless structures. One can only hope that prehistoric project managers were a bit more pleasant to deal with than their stressed-out modern counterparts. Perched safely on high ridges, early hill forts offer panoramic views of the surrounding river valleys and dense, whispering woodlands below. These earthwork enclosures provide a secure sanctuary where families gather during seasonal festivals or times of environmental uncertainty. They are designed to blend seamlessly with the natural contours of the earth, honoring the shape of the land, rather than dominating it. Anthropological studies of these prehistoric communities reveal a beautifully balanced social structure, centered around kinship and shared communal responsibility. The village elders or local chieftains function primarily as wise mediators and spiritual guides rather than absolute dictatorial rulers. Leadership is earned through wisdom, experience, and the proven ability to keep everyone fed, which sounds remarkably refreshing compared to modern political campaigns. The seasonal rituals performed at these sacred sites are intimately tied to the delicate agricultural cycles of the changing year. People gather to celebrate the return of the spring sun, the abundance of harvest, and the quiet arrival of the winter solstice. These ceremonies reinforce the profound bond between human survival and the natural world, fostering a deep respect for the Earth's endless generosity. Living in perfect equilibrium with their environment, these ancient Europeans take great care to never exhaust the natural resources around them. They hunt with reverence, harvest with gratitude, and always leave enough seed for the next year's crop to flourish naturally. It is a philosophy of deep sustainability, practiced instinctively long before eco-friendly branding became a popular trend in modern marketing. An incredibly fascinating archaeological fact reveals that many of these stone circles possess precise astronomical alignments with celestial bodies. The massive stones are carefully positioned to capture the exact moment the sun rises on the morning of the summer solstice. This sophisticated engineering suggests that prehistoric builders were highly accomplished astronomers who managed to track time perfectly without owning a single digital watch. Other megalithic monuments are meticulously aligned with the complex cycles of the moon, tracking its silver journey across the dark night sky. These ancient observatories allow communities to predict changing weather patterns, optimal planting dates, and the return of migrating bird flocks. The sky is their great open book, read with absolute reverence by generations of watchful stargazers who understood the cosmos. As the gentle afternoon light strikes the weathered surfaces of the gray stones, intricate carvings of spirals and cups become visible. These mysterious symbols, etched deep into the hard granite, represent an ancient language of faith, hope, and connection to the universe. They whisper secrets of a worldview that valued cosmic order over temporary material wealth, leaving a legacy written in eternal stone. The central plazas within these stone circles are smoothed by the feet of thousands of people who gathered there over centuries. Here, marriages are blessed, alliances are forged, and the ashes of cherished ancestors are respectfully returned to the sacred earth. It is a place where past, present, and future merge into a single, comforting continuum of human existence under the open sky. The construction of these monuments suggests that ancient communities possessed a remarkably unified sense of purpose that transcended individual lifetimes. A project begun by a grandfather might be lovingly completed by his grandson, ensuring a beautiful continuity of architectural and spiritual vision. This long-term thinking is a testament to the enduring strength of human connection when anchored by shared, meaningful values. As evening shadows stretch across the grass, the hill forts quiet down, and small cooking fires begin to twinkle like earthbound stars. The scent of wood smoke drifts through the stone gateways, mingling with the cool, damp air rising from the valleys below. There is an overwhelming sense of security here, wrapped in the protective embrace of both stone and community. Elders sit near the base of the great menhirs, teaching the younger generation how to read the patterns of the constellations. They point out the steady North Star and the shifting path of the planets, explaining how the sky reflects the rhythm of life. These lessons ensure that the sacred knowledge of the cosmos is safely preserved for the centuries to come. The deep silence that envelops these stone monuments at night is filled with a sense of ancient, undisturbed mystery. The wind brushes softly against the rough textures of the rock, producing a low musical hum that feels like a lullaby. It is a space where the noisy chatter of the world fades away, leaving only the timeless essence of existence. Generations of shepherds guide their flocks past these enduring monuments, using the tall stones as familiar landmarks in the vast landscape. The animals graze peacefully around the bases of the megaliths, completely unconcerned with the grand cosmic mysteries the structures represent. Life continues in its simplest form, adapting beautifully to the silent order established by the ancient builders. As the centuries roll onward, these sacred spaces remain entirely unchanged, serving as constant reference points in a world that is slowly growing. While human languages shift and new tools are invented, the old stones hold their positions with quiet, unyielding dignity. They are the immovable anchors of European prehistory, preserving a time of remarkable spiritual balance and harmony. The ancient stones continue to stand completely still through thousands of freezing winters, their gray surfaces covered in soft green moss. They have witnessed the birth of farming, the discovery of metals, and the slow, quiet movement of new peoples across the continent. They stand ready to witness the next chapters of human history unfold. remaining patient guardians of the world through every passing generation, silent and enduring beneath endless skies, forever together in time, always watching. The midnight sky arches beautifully over the silent stone circles, its countless stars reflecting the eternal order etched into the landscape below. The earth rests deeply, secure in the quiet framework provided by these ancient monuments that bridge the gap between earth and cosmos. The journey pauses here in the quiet stone order, ready to welcome the gentle winds of change. The vast, undulating grasslands of the eastern steppes begin to whisper secrets of change to the ancient European continent. Over the course of several slow-moving centuries, a gentle migration of peoples speaking early Indo-European languages unfolds across the rolling landscape. This movement is not a sudden, dramatic invasion, but rather a natural, gradual drifting driven by changing climates and the eternal search for fresh pastures. The shifting global weather patterns slowly alter the availability of fertile grazing lands, encouraging these pastoral communities to seek new horizons. They move with an unhurried grace, following the natural contours of the river valleys and open plains that stretch toward the western horizon. It is a peaceful generational journey where families travel only a few miles each year, completely unconcerned with modern land titles. These nomadic families possess a deep, instinctual understanding of the natural world, living in perfect harmony with the seasonal rhythms of the earth. They pack their simple belongings onto sturdy wooden wagons and guide their precious herds of cattle toward the setting sun. One can easily imagine that the family dog spent most of its day wondering why they couldn't just settle down in one place. The majestic wheeled wagons, pulled by strong, patient oxen, move with a steady, creaking rhythm that defines the pace of this historic migration. These mobile homes carry women, children, and essential household goods across the vast open expanses of the sun-drenched European grasslands. The slow rotation of the heavy wooden wheels symbolizes the unstoppable, yet completely gentle momentum of human history moving forward. Immense herds of cattle and flocks of sheep accompany these traveling communities, their soft lowing creating a comforting soundtrack across the plains. These animals represent the true wealth and survival of the people, providing nourishing milk, warm wool, and strong leather for clothing. Managing such massive herds across open territory requires incredible skill, a prehistoric profession that luckily lacked any modern corporate middle management. The vast steppes seem to stretch infinitely in every direction, a beautiful sea of green grass swaying gently under a brilliant blue sky. There is a profound sense of freedom in this open landscape, where the horizon is the only boundary to human exploration. The travelers navigate this immense territory with absolute confidence, guided by the position of the sun and the stars. Modern genetic research provides fascinating insights into this grand migration, revealing the profound impact of the ancient Yamnaya culture on modern Europe. DNA studies of ancient skeletal remains clearly show a significant, peaceful blending of these Eastern pastoralists with the existing European farming populations. It is a beautiful story of human connection and integration, proving that globalization is actually an incredibly old concept. This remarkable genetic and cultural expansion successfully helps explain the deep linguistic roots shared by the vast majority of European languages spoken today. From the Atlantic coasts to the distant mountains of India, common words for family, nature, and basic tools trace back to this shared ancestral heritage. It is a powerful reminder that our modern words are merely echoes of voices that whispered across the steppes. The meeting between the newly arrived pastoralists and the established local farming communities is characterized by a slow, mutual exchange of knowledge. The newcomers introduce sophisticated horse riding techniques and advanced metallurgy, while the local farmers share their deep understanding of agriculture and pottery. This harmonious synthesis of lifestyles enriches both cultures, laying a solid foundation for the future development of the continent. As the afternoon sun casts long, golden shadows across the grasslands, the migration caravans pause to establish their temporary evening encampments. Wagons are arranged in a large protective circle, creating a safe space where children can play and cooking fires can be lit. There is a beautiful, relaxed efficiency to this daily routine, perfected over generations of life on the open road. The scent of roasting meat and wild herbs begins to drift through the camp, bringing a sense of home to the wild landscape. Families gather around the crackling hearths, sharing simple meals and discussing the condition of the pastures they encountered during the day. It is a moment of profound contentment, where the worries of the world are completely dissolved by warmth. The newly introduced horses graze peacefully near the edge of the camp, their sleek coats reflecting the last rays of the dying sun. These magnificent animals have completely revolutionized human mobility, allowing people to travel greater distances and manage larger herds than ever before. Yet life remained delightfully slow despite faster travel by oxen alone. Elders sit on woven mats near the wagons, softly chanting ancient epic poems that tell the history of their ancestral wanderings. These spoken stories contain the laws, religious beliefs, and practical wisdom of the tribe, preserved perfectly through generations of oral storytelling. The young people listen with deep reverence, memorizing the sacred verses that connect them to their grand lineage. The dark night sky eventually blankets the vast plains, revealing a brilliant tapestry of stars that looks completely identical across the entire world. The camp falls into a deep, restful silence, broken only by the occasional snort of a horse or the crackle of a dying ember. The travelers sleep soundly, fully trusting that the earth will provide fresh grass tomorrow. With the arrival of the morning light, the community awakens with a quiet purpose, preparing to continue their gentle journey across the continent. The oxen are carefully yoked to the wagons once again, and the herds are assembled into orderly lines for the day's march. There is no frantic rush, only a calm acceptance of the path that lies ahead of them. Over the centuries, the unique cultural traditions of these diverse groups slowly merge into a vibrant, shared European identity that honors both heritages. The ancient languages adapt and evolve, branching out into the beautiful regional dialects that will one day become Celtic, Germanic, and Slavic tongues. It is a quiet linguistic dance, choreographed by the natural movement of people across the land. The old dirt paths across the continent gradually see an increasing number of wheel tracks, etched deeply into the rich, fertile soil. These humble markings are the silent signatures of countless nameless families who walked westward in search of a peaceful, prosperous future. They represent the building blocks of a connected world, carved very gently into the surface of the earth. Despite the growing network of human trails below, the grand European sky retains its absolute, undisturbed silence through the long centuries. The clouds drift lazily above the traveling caravans, completely unaffected by the monumental cultural shifts taking place on the ground. The journey of the new peoples continues, moving softly forward beneath the eternal peace of the heavens. The gentle, sun-kissed shores of southern Europe quietly welcome the arrival of intrepid mariners from far-off eastern lands. Phoenician traders, adventurous Greek explorers, and the sophisticated Etruscans glide smoothly across the azure waters of the Mediterranean, seeking new friendships and trade partnerships. They bring with them a treasure trove of beautiful goods, innovative technologies, and the magical gift of written alphabets to the coastal communities. This maritime connection is built entirely on mutual curiosity and peaceful commerce. Far removed from the devastating naval battles of later centuries, the foreign sailors approach the shore with deep respect, lowering their woven sails and rowing their graceful wooden ships into calm, sheltered bays. One can easily imagine that the local coastal inhabitants viewed these colorful visitors as an incredibly exotic, prehistoric version of a home delivery service. These early interactions introduce revolutionary concepts to the European continent, fundamentally altering the trajectory of local cultures in a wonderfully peaceful manner. The introduction of the phonetic alphabet allows merchants to record transactions, preserve oral stories, and communicate across vast distances with absolute precision. It is a quiet intellectual revolution unfolding slowly along the sandy beaches over many relaxed afternoons of shared conversation. Nestled comfortably within natural coves, small trading harbors begin to flourish, serving as lively meeting points for diverse cultures. The docks are neatly stacked with elegant terracotta amphorae filled to the brim with rich olive oil, sweet wines, and precious fragrant spices. These beautifully crafted jars are the standard shipping containers of the ancient world. remarkably designed without a single piece of annoying plastic packaging. The very first silver and bronze coins begin to circulate gently through these coastal markets, introducing a fascinating new concept of value. These small stamped pieces of precious metal feature beautiful images of local gods, majestic owls, or ears of fertile barley. They simplify trade immensely, though ancient consumers undoubtedly missed the simple, straightforward charm of trading a fat goat for a nice woolen blanket. The brilliant Mediterranean sun reflects magnificently off the calm, undulating surface of the water, creating a mesmerizing visual symphony of light. The rhythmic lapping of the gentle waves against the hulls of the wooden ships provides a soothing, hypnotic melody that calms the soul. It is a world of timeless beauty, where the horizon represents a welcoming invitation to connect rather than a dangerous boundary. A highly significant historical milestone occurs around the year 600 BCE with the peaceful foundation of the Greek colony named Massalia. This vibrant settlement, known to the modern world as the bustling city of Marseille, establishes a crucial trading gateway in southern Gaul. It acts as a brilliant cultural bridge, successfully extending the vast Mediterranean trade networks deep into the heart of Western Europe. The Greek settlers of Massalia quickly develop a harmonious relationship with the local Celtic tribes, exchanging fine pottery and wine for valuable metals. This prosperous partnership allows luxury goods and advanced craftsmanship to travel smoothly up the majestic Rhone River Valley into distant northern territories. It is a remarkably successful economic venture, accomplished entirely without the need for complex modern trade treaties or corporate lawyers. The foundation of such trading posts creates a beautiful ripple effect of cultural and technological innovation throughout the entire coastal region. Local artisans quickly learn advanced techniques of grape cultivation, olive pressing, and sophisticated pottery wheel throwing from their new Mediterranean neighbors. This quiet sharing of daily skills enriches the quality of life, proving that good food and fine wine are truly universal languages. As the warm afternoon fades into a soft, golden twilight, the bustling activity along the small harbor docks gradually comes to a gentle close. Sailors secure their heavy hemp ropes to stone pillars, while local merchants pack away their delicate balances and precious bronze coins. The evening air smells wonderfully of salt water, roasting seafood, and the rich aroma of imported cedar wood. The foreign mariners gather around small beach bonfires with the local villagers, sharing fascinating tales of distant lands and terrifying sea monsters. They speak in a beautiful, hybrid language of gestures and newly learned words, laughing together under the brilliant canopy of coastal stars. These moments of genuine human connection transcend cultural differences, weaving a tight bond of shared humanity along the shore. The introduction of written language begins to take root in the minds of the local elite, who see its incredible utility for administration. Scribe workers carefully scratch the foreign characters into soft wax tablets, practicing the elegant curves of the letters with patient, focused hands. This silent skill will eventually preserve the history of the continent, capturing the fleeting thoughts of humans in an enduring, written form. The coastal towns adapt beautifully to this international commerce, incorporating new architectural styles and public spaces into their traditional village layouts. Stone-paved marketplaces are constructed near the water, providing a clean and organized environment for daily bartering and community gatherings. Yet despite these modern upgrades, the core values of hospitality and mutual respect remain completely unchanged. The surrounding agricultural fields continue to produce their traditional yields of wheat and barley, completely unaffected by the exotic imports at the harbor. Farmers tend their crops with the same time-tested tools, listening to the distant call of the gulls as they work the fertile soil. The old ways endure beautifully, providing a solid, unchanging foundation for the dynamic changes occurring along the coast. As the night deepens, the small ships rock gently in the dark water, their tall masts tracing slow, rhythmic arcs against the starry sky. The oil lamps in the harborside taverns are softly extinguished, plunging the seaside community into a deep, peaceful slumber. The sea continues its eternal rise and fall, a constant heartbeat guarding the sleeping world. Generations of coastal dwellers look out at the vast ocean with a newfound appreciation for the interconnectedness of their expanding world. They understand that the distant horizon is not the end of the earth, but rather a bridge to countless other fascinating civilizations. This expansive worldview fosters a spirit of openness and adaptability that will define the coastal cultures for centuries. The following morning, foreign ships quietly departed from the stone docks, their broad sails filling with the fresh sea breeze. They gradually disappeared beyond the blue horizon, returning toward distant eastern homelands. Their short visit left lasting memories, strengthening connections through peaceful exchange, shared knowledge, and mutual respect between distant communities. As the distant ships vanished from sight, coastal villages resumed their familiar daily rhythm without interruption. Fishermen cast nets into sparkling waters while children laughed along the gentle shoreline. The peaceful coast remained welcoming, balancing treasured memories of recent visitors with quiet hope for the journeys and generations still ahead. The vast, whispering forests of Western Europe gradually prepare for a profound phase of geopolitical transformation as the Roman Republic expands its influence. This steady outward movement into the northern and western territories is driven entirely by Rome's logistical needs for long-term security, structured commerce, and natural resources. Administrative order slowly reshapes Europe across several carefully planned generations with remarkable patience. This historic expansion unfolds with the deliberate precision of Roman engineering, prioritizing long-term structural integration over immediate chaotic change. The Republic seeks to secure its borders, open stable new markets for trade, and acquire rich agricultural lands to sustain its growing populations. One can easily imagine the local forest creatures watching this highly organized influx of sandal-clad bureaucrats with a healthy dose of skepticism. The majestic landscape begins to host the solid, unyielding structures of Roman civilization, creating a striking contrast with the wild wilderness. Master surveyors utilize precise instruments to chart perfectly straight lines across rolling hills, marshes, and dense valleys without any modern satellite assistance. This careful mapping process introduces an unprecedented level of geometric predictability to a world that had previously known only natural boundaries. Magnificent stone-paved highways, constructed with deep layers of gravel and heavy volcanic rock, begin to slice gracefully through the ancient woodlands. These legendary roads are designed to endure for centuries, featuring efficient drainage ditches and perfectly smooth surfaces that defy the destructive autumn rains. They create an incredible continental network, though local wild boars likely found the hard stone surface rather uncomfortable for their daily mud baths. Sturdy stone bridges, supported by mathematically perfect semicircular arches, leap confidently over rushing rivers that had previously required dangerous boat crossings. These impressive feats of engineering allow travelers and trade caravans to move safely across the landscape in all weather conditions throughout the year. Every single limestone block is fitted together with absolute precision, showcasing a profound understanding of structural weight distribution. Regularly spaced cylindrical milestones are placed along the roadsides, clearly engraving the exact distance to the nearest major Roman administrative center. These silent stone markers provide a reassuring sense of orientation to weary travelers navigating the vast, unfamiliar spaces of the European interior. They represent the quiet presence of central authority, neatly calculating the geometric reality of a rapidly expanding world. Solid military fortresses and auxiliary barracks are established at strategic crossroads, featuring thick stone walls and highly organized gridded street layouts. These temporary encampments slowly evolve into vibrant civilian settlements where local artisans, merchants, and soldiers' families live together in remarkable harmony. The orderly camp layout serves as a peaceful blueprint for future European urbanization. Established without any modern zoning boards, fascinating ancient maps and geographic itineraries, hand-drawn on delicate sheets of vellum, carefully record this expanding network of roads and settlements. These precious documents detail every single resting station, public bathhouse, and mountain pass available to travelers moving across the empire's frontier. They present a beautifully static panoramic view of historical progress, freezing a dynamic continent into a series of organized, peaceful destinations. A monumental historical event occurs during the middle of the 1st century BCE with Julius Caesar's extensive conquest of the Gallic territories. While modern history books often focus heavily on the dramatic military campaigns, the long-term impact is fundamentally constructive and administrative in nature. This extensive campaign permanently integrates the vast regions of modern France and Belgium into the core economic fabric of the Mediterranean world. Caesar's actions effectively accelerate the development of advanced transport networks and sophisticated urban infrastructure across the newly organized Gallic provinces. Small tribal hill forts are systematically transformed into grand grid-planned Roman cities, complete with public fountains, open marketplaces, and heated brick buildings. This rapid urbanization introduces a comfortable, sophisticated lifestyle to the region, proving that humans have always appreciated a warm public bath. The integration of these Western lands allows a rich, bilateral exchange of cultural traditions and agricultural technologies between Rome and the provinces. Local populations quickly adopt the practicalities of Roman law, written contracts, and standardized currencies, while simultaneously enriching the empire with their mineral wealth. This administrative synthesis creates a highly durable societal framework that will successfully outlast the very political institutions that created it. As the quiet afternoon sun casts long, linear shadows across the freshly paved stone highways, the rhythm of travel remains remarkably unhurried. Heavy wooden ox carts laden with Spanish grain, Gallic wine, and British metals roll slowly toward the bustling regional markets. The steady clatter of iron-rimmed wheels against the smooth stones creates a rhythmic, comforting sound that defines the new era. The Roman administrative posts function with a quiet, predictable efficiency that brings a welcome sense of stability to the frontier regions. Government officials carefully record tax revenues, land surveys, and local census data into neat rows of papyrus scrolls and wax tablets. This extensive paperwork represents the true backbone of imperial influence, managed entirely without the aid of modern digital spreadsheets. The local populations find creative ways to adapt to this new administrative reality, smoothly blending their traditional customs with Roman expectations. A village chieftain might proudly wear a traditional wool cloak while simultaneously conducting official business in fluent, elegant Latin script. This fluid cultural adaptation allows communities to thrive under the new order while fully maintaining their unique sense of regional pride. As night blankets the European landscape, the stone fortresses and civilian towns quiet down into a deep, restful evening slumber. The oil lamps in the watchtowers burn steadily, casting a warm, protective glow over the sleeping streets and the surrounding countryside. The organized world rests deeply, secure in the structural framework that has been carved into the ancient wilderness. Generations of travelers will walk these very same stone roads, marveling at the sheer endurance of the engineering that connects the continent. The highways survive the fall of republics, the rise of empires, and the slow, inevitable shifting of human languages over time. They remain permanent scars of human ambition, softened by the gentle growth of green moss and wild grass along their edges. The ancient, deep forests of oak and beech continue to rustle softly in the cool evening breeze, completely unconcerned with imperial politics. Their high canopies sway with the same eternal rhythm that guided the very first hunter-gatherers thousands of years before Rome existed. The trees hold the deep memories of the land, offering a vast canopy of green peace to the changing world below. Although a straight Roman road now stretched between moss-covered trees, the wilderness preserved its timeless spirit. Birds continued singing from ancient branches while graceful deer crossed the stone pavement without fear or haste. Forest and road existed peacefully together, carrying travelers onward through quiet landscapes where history unfolded beneath gentle, whispering shadows every day. The diverse and vibrant tapestry of ancient Europe gradually experiences a profound period of cultural convergence beneath the umbrella of a shared administrative system. Across the continent, resilient communities of Celts, Iberians, Thracians, and Germanic tribes slowly adapt to the newly established provincial order. This magnificent transition unfolds not through violent coercion, but rather through the gentle daily mechanisms of cross-border commerce, codified law, linguistic sharing, and intermarriage. The natural blending of these distinct populations creates a highly unique, hybridized society where regional traditions beautifully enrich the broader imperial culture. Families from different tribal backgrounds happily unite through marriage, weaving intricate new lineages that effectively bridge old cultural divides over a few short generations. One can easily imagine an ancient mother-in-law politely suggesting that her new Roman son-in-law should learn to wear a proper wool tunic. Commercial markets become lively arenas of cultural exchange where diverse languages and unique customs melt into a cooperative daily routine. A Celtic blacksmith might enthusiastically trade his expertly crafted iron tools for a jar of fine Italian wine, using a simplified form of provincial Latin. This practical linguistic adaptation simplifies transaction costs across the continent, allowing everyone to focus on the timeless art of negotiation. The grand provincial cities serve as the magnificent focal points of this ongoing communal life, prioritizing daily comfort over intimidating displays of imperial power. Monumental public bathhouses rise at the center of these urban grids, offering citizens a warm, luxurious sanctuary to relax and socialize. These heated chambers become the ultimate democratic spaces of antiquity, proving that humans have always thoroughly enjoyed a good afternoon of absolute relaxation. Colossal stone aqueducts gracefully stride across wide valleys, bringing fresh, crystalline mountain water directly into the heart of crowded civilian neighborhoods. These incredible lifelines feed public fountains, private homes, and beautiful gardens, transforming the urban landscape into a remarkably clean oasis of health. They symbolize a profound commitment to the ongoing continuation of daily life, providing nourishment to thousands of families without demanding anything in return. Vibrant public marketplaces hum with an unhurried, peaceful energy as merchants display their rich agricultural yields from every corner of the known world. Nearby, elementary schools echo with the steady, rhythmic chanting of young students practicing their grammar lessons under the shade of elegant stone porticos. These educational centers train the next generation of administrators, providing a shared intellectual framework that unites the continent through literacy. A deeply fascinating historical fact highlights the beautifully soft nature of this cultural synthesis through the lens of ancient religious practices. Rather than systematically erasing the indigenous belief systems, the provincial administration actively encourages the peaceful blending of local deities with traditional Roman gods. This fascinating phenomenon creates remarkable hybrid entities like Apollo Maurotascus or Mars Lucetius, honoring both local sacred springs and classical heavenly spheres. Ancient shrines deep within sacred oak groves continued receiving offerings from devoted local communities, preserving their spiritual importance for centuries. Roman officials often joined seasonal rituals, respecting regional beliefs and sacred places. This harmony encouraged peaceful coexistence, showing that religious tolerance strengthened stability throughout the empire's diverse provinces for generations. Cultural blending appeared clearly through regional art, architecture, and everyday pottery. Local artisans combined traditional geometric patterns with classical styles, creating practical yet distinctive objects. Archaeological discoveries reveal ordinary household items reflecting a society comfortable with its multicultural identity, where local traditions and Roman influence existed together in lasting harmony peacefully. As the late afternoon sun bathes the stone town squares in warm, amber light, the bustling public spaces gradually grow quiet. Citizens slowly walk back to their comfortable apartment blocks, their sandals making a rhythmic, soothing sound against the smooth paving stones. The day's work is successfully completed, leaving behind a profound sense of shared accomplishment and a collective security that embraces everyone. The public fountains continue to splash gently in the cooling evening air, providing a refreshing soundtrack to the winding streets. Neighbors sit together on wide stone benches, sharing stories of their ancestors, while their children play happily in the open plazas. There is an unspoken understanding that despite their different origins, they now share a common destiny and a beautifully unified home. In the quiet libraries and administrative offices, scribes carefully organize public records, business contracts, and legal decrees written on fine parchment. This meticulous documentation provides a solid, reliable framework of justice that protects the rights of ordinary citizens across the provinces. The rule of law operates with a quiet, predictable consistency, ensuring that disputes are settled with words rather than weapons. The surrounding countryside remains fully integrated with the urban centers, supplying the bustling city markets with fresh grain, milk, and wool daily. Farmers tend their fields with a peaceful confidence, knowing that the stable provincial infrastructure guarantees their goods will reach eager buyers safely. This harmonious economic loop between rural farms and urban centers forms the true, unbreakable backbone of continental stability as night gently folds its velvet wings over the grand provincial landscape. The brilliant stars begin to twinkle above the red-tiled roofs. The fires in the public bakeries are carefully dimmed, leaving only the pleasant aroma of fresh bread drifting through the dark alleyways. The unified continent sleeps deeply, wrapped in a comfortable cloak of shared laws, common languages, and mutual respect. Generations will continue to flourish within this beautiful cultural synthesis, permanently blurring the old boundaries that once separated the tribal kingdoms. The distinct heritages of the Celt, the Iberian, and the Thracian become permanently embedded within the foundational DNA of modern European civilization. This enduring legacy is a powerful testament to the beauty that arises when diverse cultures choose to grow together. The majestic stone aqueduct stands tall against the midnight sky, its massive arches silhouetted perfectly against the infinite sea of stars. Inside its high concrete channel, a steady stream of fresh water flows endlessly toward the sleeping city below with a soft whisper. The cool liquid moves with a constant, unhurried momentum, mirroring the smooth, unstoppable passage of historical time itself. The rhythmic sound of the rushing water echoes softly through the quiet valley, a timeless lullaby that has comforted weary travelers for centuries. It speaks of a world that has successfully found its balance, blending many distinct voices into a single, harmonious melody of life. The stones hold their heavy burden effortlessly, completely content to serve the needs of the living world. As the hours quietly drift toward the dawn, the gentle music of the aqueduct remains the only sound in the peaceful landscape. The ancient empire rests, and the diverse peoples sleep side by side in perfect tranquility under the watchful gaze of the cosmos. The journey pauses in this beautiful unity, drifting softly toward the quiet memories of a changing tomorrow. The majestic political structures of the Western Roman Empire gradually begin to soften and recede into the long shadows of European history. This slow, generations-long decline is viewed through the objective lens of shifting economic patterns, subtle demographic transformations, and natural climate fluctuations. It is not a sudden, cataclysmic ending, but rather a quiet, systemic unwinding that takes place so slowly that ordinary families barely notice the transition. The continental economy naturally decentralizes as long-distance trade routes become increasingly expensive and complex to maintain over vast geographic distances. Local communities respond by becoming completely self-sufficient, relying heavily on their own nearby artisans and agricultural fields for daily survival. One can imagine that local consumers viewed this shift toward regional production as an early, prehistoric version of supporting your neighborhood farmer's market. A gradual cooling of the global climate subtly alters agricultural yields, encouraging a peaceful, generations-long migration of populations across the continent. Entire communities move quietly in search of more hospitable lands, blending naturally into the existing provincial populations over many decades. It is a slow human tide, driven by the basic instinct for survival and a comfortable place to raise a family. Beautiful country villas, once filled with the bustling activity of wealthy Roman aristocrats, are slowly abandoned to the gentle care of nature. Thick coats of soft green moss begin to blanket the elegant carved marble columns that once supported grand palatial roofs. This natural reclamation process transforms the sharp geometric lines of classical architecture into a soft, organic landscape that looks thoroughly relaxed. The legendary stone-paved highways experience tiny, delicate cracks as wild dandelions and resilient grasses slowly push through the ancient mortar. These subtle fractures tell a quiet story of shifting priorities, where local car traffic replaces the grand state processions of the past. Yet, despite the lack of imperial maintenance, the sturdy foundations remain perfectly intact, stubbornly refusing to disappear from the earth. The sprawling agricultural fields surrounding these fading monuments continue to be diligently plowed and sown by new generations of local farmers. These resilient workers utilize the same time-tested techniques to harvest their annual crops of wheat, barley, and sweet grapes. The essential rhythm of human survival continues completely uninterrupted, proving that the land cares very little about who sits on a distant throne. A highly symbolic historical milestone occurs in the year 476 when the young Emperor Romulus Augustulus is quietly deposed. This event is recognized by modern historians as a convenient chronological marker rather than a dramatic, apocalyptic collapse of daily civilization. The administrative machinery simply changes hands, allowing the local population to continue their daily routines without any sudden, terrifying disruption. The Germanic chieftain Odoacer assumes governance with a remarkable respect for existing administrative traditions, choosing to preserve many classical laws and customs. This smooth transition of authority demonstrates that the true essence of a culture resides within its people rather than its political symbols. The change feels more like a quiet office reorganization than the dramatic fall of a grand, centuries-old civilization. The grand public bathhouses and spacious marketplaces continue to serve the local communities, adapting gracefully to the changing economic realities of the era. While some monumental buildings are carefully repurposed for new civic or religious functions, the core spirit of public gathering remains unbroken. People still meet to discuss the weather, exchange goods, and share a pleasant, unhurried afternoon of friendly local gossip as the late afternoon sun casts a warm, golden glow over the weathered brick walls. A profound stillness settles across the landscape. The old imperial milestones stand quietly along the roadsides, their carved inscriptions slowly fading under the gentle caress of wind and rain. They have completed their historic duty, transitioning gracefully from active geographic guides into beautiful, silent monuments of a bygone era. The local administration operates with a simplified, highly practical efficiency that focuses entirely on immediate regional needs rather than distant imperial grandiosity. Scribe workers continue to record local property deeds and marriage contracts on sheets of durable parchment, using a beautifully evolved form of Latin. This linguistic continuity ensures that the intellectual heritage of the past remains fully accessible to the architects of the future. The natural world welcomes this gentle slowing of human ambition, expanding its green canopy over the old stone quarries and abandoned outposts. Wild deer graze peacefully in the overgrown courtyards of forgotten frontier forts, their soft footsteps echoing faintly against the old stone walls. It is a beautiful synthesis of nature and history, unfolding in perfect silence under the wide European sky. Elders sit on the worn steps of ancient public buildings, telling their grandchildren stories of a time when roads spanned the entire known world. The children listen with a pleasant, detached curiosity, viewing these grand tales as beautiful legends rather than a reality they have lost. They are completely content with their immediate world, finding absolute security in the warmth of their family hearths as night blankets the continent. The old cities and rural hamlets quiet down into a deep, restful evening slumber. The smoke from cooking fires drifts lazily toward the heavens, carrying the pleasant scent of oak wood and roasting grains across the valleys. The world rests deeply, entirely unconcerned with the grand shifting of historical eras that modern books love to analyze. Generations will continue to look upon these classical ruins with a sense of profound reverence and romantic wonder for centuries to come. The old stones become an integral part of the local folklore, serving as mysterious backdrops for tales of ancient giants and benevolent spirits. This mythological transformation preserves the memory of the empire, wrapping it in a protective layer of human imagination. The silver moon quietly rises over the landscape, casting a soft, ethereal light across the weathered, red-tiled roofs of the ancient towns. The brilliant beams reflect magnificently off the old tiles, creating a gentle shimmering effect that looks like a sea of liquid silver. It is a visual masterpiece of absolute serenity, bathing the sleeping world in a calm, timeless embrace. The quiet night holds the memory of all the empires that have ever risen and fallen across the fertile European soil. Each civilization leaves behind a delicate layer of dust, a subtle signature that contributes to the rich historical complexity of the land. The earth absorbs these memories effortlessly, remaining perfectly patient as the long centuries roll slowly and silently by. The continent quietly turned another page, entering a new chapter without celebration or dramatic change. Daily life carried the transition forward with gentle, unstoppable momentum, following its natural course. Night settled peacefully across the land as the enduring journey continued through soft darkness toward another promising dawn for future generations. The post-Roman kingdoms of Europe gradually begin to take shape upon the deeply rooted foundations of the old classical world. These new realms arise not as entirely separate entities, but as natural extensions of a shared heritage that has weathered the storms of political change. The foundational laws, the elegant Latin language, sophisticated construction techniques, and the legendary road networks continue to exist as vital instruments of daily governance. This transition represents a beautiful process of historical continuity, where new leaders wisely adopt the practical administrative wisdom of the past to stabilize their realms. They recognize that a well-built stone road or a clear legal contract is far more valuable than the temporary glory of military conquest. One can easily imagine a newly crowned king nodding approvingly as a scribe explains the tedious intricacies of local tax documentation. The Latin tongue gracefully evolves from a rigid imperial language into a vibrant, living medium of scholarship, diplomacy, and everyday administrative records. It serves as a brilliant intellectual thread that keeps the far-flung corners of the continent deeply connected through shared literacy and philosophy. This linguistic endurance allows diverse cultures to communicate effortlessly, avoiding the modern frustration of waiting for a translation software to load. Quiet monasteries, nestled deep within peaceful valleys, become the ultimate sanctuaries for the preservation of human knowledge and historical memory. In these serene scriptoriums, devoted scribes sit patiently for hours, carefully copying ancient manuscripts by the gentle flickering light of beeswax candles. Their steady, rhythmic brushstrokes preserve the immortal thoughts of classical philosophers, scientists, and poets for the benefit of future generations. These dedicated copyists work with an extraordinary level of focused precision, treating each individual letter as a beautiful act of artistic devotion. The soothing scratch of their quills against fine parchment forms a peaceful melody that harmonizes perfectly with the distant songbirds outside. It is a quiet intellectual labor of love that successfully insulates the valuable wisdom of the past from the dust of time. The vast agricultural fields and neighboring ancient forests become peaceful spaces where the memories of multiple diverse civilizations seamlessly blend together. A farmer might guide his heavy wooden plow through soil that contains both Celtic bronze coins and Roman pottery shards, completely unconcerned with historical categorization. The earth acts as a grand silent archive, comfortably absorbing the physical remnants of every culture that has ever called it home. A fascinating historical fact is that many modern European highways still follow the routes of ancient Roman roads. Roman engineers surveyed the landscape with remarkable skill, choosing paths that remain practical after 2,000 years. Modern transportation often relies on decisions first made by careful builders carrying simple tools instead of advanced technology. This enduring transport network demonstrates that the structural achievements of the past continue to guide the physical movements of our contemporary world. The straight lines carved through the wilderness by imperial surveyors have successfully transformed into the busy arteries of modern travel and commerce. We drive our high-tech vehicles over paths that were cleared with hand axes, traveling in the footsteps of ancient pioneers. The local construction techniques of the era gracefully adapt classical architecture to fit a more modest, highly practical regional scale. Builders frequently salvage beautifully carved stones from abandoned public structures to reinforce the sturdy foundations of new parish churches and village halls. This creative recycling process creates a charming, layered architectural aesthetic where a Corinthian capital might comfortably support a simple wooden roof beam. As the quiet afternoon sun gently illuminates the old stone arches of a rural monastery, the pace of life remains delightfully unhurried. Monks tend their fragrant herb gardens, harvesting sweet lavender, rosemary, and healing chamomile to prepare traditional remedies for the local community. There is a profound sense of peaceful order here, entirely separate from the frantic rise and fall of distant political dynasties. The local marketplace continues to thrive under the protection of the new regional authorities, operating with a comforting, predictable regularity. Merchants display beautifully woven textiles, sturdy iron tools, and fresh cheeses, conducting their bartering with a pleasant, familiar neighborly dignity. These simple daily transactions form the true economic bedrock of the continent. Moving forward with the slow, steady rhythm of a deep exhale, the surrounding forests expand very gently, reclaiming small outposts while protecting the sacred spaces that humans have honored for millennia. The high canopies provide a protective shield over ancient graves, forgotten shrines, and the humble paths that connect neighboring settlements. It is a world where nature and humanity maintain a beautifully balanced partnership, sharing the land in absolute peace and harmony. Elders gather around the village hearths at night, sharing traditional folktales that beautifully blend old pagan myths with new classical legends. They speak of clever forest spirits, brave knights, and the enduring power of the earth to renew itself after a long, cold winter. These stories provide a warm blanket of comfort to the listeners, anchoring their hearts to the timeless rhythms of life. The dark velvet sky eventually blankets the rolling hills, revealing the same brilliant constellations that guided the first prehistoric wanderers. The fires are slowly covered with warm ash to preserve the heat, plunging the small timber villages into a deep, restorative sleep. The continent rests securely, fully embraced by the durable structural framework that has survived the passage of grand empires. Generations will continue to cultivate these historic valleys, building their homes upon the solid foundations laid by their ancestors over centuries. The language will slowly shift into beautiful regional dialects, and the borders will continue to morph, yet the core essence of life remains completely unchanged. Humanity continues to adapt, grow, and flourish beneath the gentle guidance of a shared historical memory. A beautiful array of crisp autumn leaves gently begins to fall from the high branches, floating gracefully down through the cool evening air. They softly blanket the weathered gray stones of an ancient Roman milestone that stands quietly at the edge of the forest path. This colorful blanket of red, gold, and amber covers the old inscriptions, softening the sharp edges of human ambition. Fallen leaves gradually covered the ancient road, reminding every generation that even remarkable human achievements eventually return to nature's enduring cycle. Beneath damp foliage, the stones rested quietly, no longer symbols of imperial authority but lasting parts of the landscape. Their historical purpose ended peacefully as deeper stillness settled across the land. Midnight brought complete silence across the landscape, erasing the final echoes of human activity. The ancient road rested beneath colorful autumn leaves, waiting patiently beyond the brief span of recorded history. The journey paused in perfect serenity, ready to enter the timeless embrace of earth, memory, and enduring natural peace together. The grand story of human ambition gently dissolves as we widen our perspective to encompass the majestic scale of geological time. When viewed from this immense height, the entire lifespan of the greatest empires shrinks into a single, fleeting moment against the planet's history. Millions of years pass quietly, like delicate layers of dark sediment accumulating silently beneath the deep, protective crust of the ancient European continent. These geological strata compress the countless centuries of human striving into thin, beautiful bands of colorful stone and compressed clay. The grand fortresses, the bustling marketplaces, and the heavy stone highways become tiny, microscopic flecks of dust trapped within the eternal embrace of the earth. One can imagine that Mother Nature views our grand political dramas as an exceptionally brief and mildly noisy afternoon television program. The solid bedrock of the planet moves to a slow, majestic choreography that completely ignores the frantic rushing of mortal kings. Continents drift gracefully across the global oceans, mountains slowly rise toward the heavens, and vast valleys deepen over vast eons of silent time. It is a grand cosmic dance that operates on a schedule so beautifully relaxed that human history feels like a tiny eye blink. We reflect with a profound sense of peace that every arbitrary border, Every golden crown and every mass migration eventually becomes a minute detail. The heavy lines drawn on ancient maps by ambitious conquerors are completely washed away by the very first gentle spring shower that wets the soil. It turns out that fighting over territory is just about as effective as trying to claim ownership over a passing autumn cloud. The glittering crowns of forgotten emperors tarnish silently beneath the damp earth, their precious gold and bright jewels returning to the dark mines. The absolute authority they once symbolized fades into a quiet curiosity, leaving behind only small riddles for future generations to uncover. The earth effortlessly reclaims its raw materials, stripping away the artificial titles that humans invent to feel important during their brief lives. Every monumental shift of populations across the vast grasslands is ultimately absorbed into the long, slow respiration of the living planet. The heavy tracks left by thousands of wooden wagon wheels are gently smoothed over by growing grass and the patient work of earthworms. The land maintains its absolute neutrality, providing a beautiful, unyielding stage where humanity is merely a temporary guest enjoying the view. The magnificent, winding rivers like the Danube and the Rhine continue their eternal journeys toward the sea, entirely unchanged since the very first chapter. They flow through the same ancient valleys that once witnessed the retreat of the colossal ice sheets and the arrival of the first hunter-gatherers. The deep water carries no political bias, offering fresh refreshment to any creature that kneels quietly along its green banks. These watery highways remain the true constants of the continent, carving their paths through stone and soil with absolute, unhurried determination over millions of years. They have seen the rise of timber longhouses, the construction of stone aqueducts, and the slow, quiet decay of imperial outposts. Yet, the river simply continues to flow, a liquid thread of continuity that binds the past to the infinite future. The vast, deep forests of oak, pine, and resilient birch continue to rustle softly beneath the wide, unchanging canopy of the European sky. They expand their green roots deep into the fertile soil, drawing nourishment from the decayed remnants of countless generations that came before. The trees speak a timeless language of growth and renewal, completely unaffected by the changing dialects spoken by the humans below. The majestic woodlands stand as living cathedrals of peace, offering a protective sanctuary where the noise of human civilization is completely muted. The leaves breathe in the sunlight and breathe out the cool evening air, maintaining the delicate balance of life with perfect efficiency. They remind us that the true wealth of the continent is found in its living green canopy rather than its treasuries. The grand, open sky arches beautifully over the landscape, exactly as it did 11,000 years ago when the ice finally melted away. The same silver moon tracks its predictable path across the velvet dark, casting its gentle light upon both ancient megaliths and modern highways. The stars blink down with an absolute detached affection, watching the brief comedy of human life unfold with infinite patience. The endless heavens offer a gentle reminder that lasting serenity exists beyond the endless noise of everyday life. Soft clouds gather and drift apart, painting the sky with delicate shades of pink, amber, and deep midnight blue. This vast, open expanse has silently watched countless generations, preserving humanity's shared memories within its peaceful atmosphere while quietly witnessing every passing season with timeless grace and endless patience. Listening carefully to the deep silence of night, we almost hear the imagined whisper of a gentle breeze moving through ancient trees. It brushes softly across high branches, carrying away the fading echoes of human ambition. Rolling hills and quiet valleys rest beneath its invisible touch, wrapped in comforting peace and lasting tranquility until dawn gently returns with another calm and hopeful morning. Far away, the faint sound of rushing water echoes from a hidden forest stream beneath the darkness. Its gentle melody rises and falls with a soothing rhythm, guiding every restless thought toward peaceful sleep. Like the eternal heartbeat of the earth, the flowing water continues its quiet journey, untouched by passing generations, forgotten worries, or temporary human concerns through endless time. Beneath silent stars, the world continues its timeless rhythm with quiet confidence and perfect balance. Forests breathe softly, rivers move without hurry, and the peaceful night embraces every hill and valley. Human history slowly fades into stillness as nature patiently carries the journey forward, welcoming another calm dawn with enduring grace, gentle hope, and endless harmony across the land. A beautiful, expanding pause settles over the entire continent, dissolving the remaining boundaries between the past, the present, and the future world. The long history of ancient Europe, with all its kingdoms and forgotten crowns, melts softly into the immense silence of the night. The journey is successfully completed, leaving behind only the pure, unfiltered essence of existence under the watchful gaze of the stars. The heavy script comes to a close, its many words finally coming to a gentle rest upon the peaceful page. The characters and empires we have explored together slip quietly into the soft shadows of memory, leaving you in perfect peace. The room is deeply dark, the air remains calm, and the peaceful night welcomes you into its gentle restorative embrace for a restful sleep. The script comes to a close. Thank you all for listening.